Hey, welcome to Mullen Stock. If you are new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on post notifications by hitting the bells so you never miss any of our uploads. And also remember that this is not a financial advice video. Today you will tell you what happened with Mullen. Let's look at some data points, what the shorts did, and what has been said about the new amended 8K form. So Mullen closed in the red today, down 0.94%, with 33.85 million shares traded. The average is 59%, and the volume was low without any market catalyst, but there was investment in options. So, I'll give you a breakdown of that. However, it was disappointing that Mullen closed in the red today, especially considering that many other EV and growth stocks followed yesterday's momentum and closed in the green. In Mullen's case, it had already become a target for shorts, and it never really recovered, and there were no real buyers. Although there was a volume of 33 million shares, most of it was swing traders, day traders, and algorithmic trading. Long-term investors were scarce, and it seems that most of them were not investing due to the new amended form. I will also provide you with a breakdown of that. But today, after hours, an 8K form was submitted at 4:57 p.m. And it's not something special, as you can see. It simply states that typos in the interview transcript are being corrected, because it was written that about 450 M3 would be produced in Q4. This was significantly higher than the previous forecast. But they changed it to 150, which matches the 8K and several other things. So it was a good amendment for them, and at least they noticed it. But let's move on. I want to give you some information about shorts first, before touching on options and everything else. Today, shorts increased their position by about 1.2 million shares, representing 12.03% of the free float. In total, 35.56 million shares are short, with an average cost to borrow of around 13.65% and a utilization rate of 94.93. You can see that shorts started increasing about 45 minutes to an hour after the market opened. As I mentioned, they delivered a hit, and Mullen never recovered. It was also observed that shorts were quite active on Mullen, while in many other growth stocks, shorts were a bit more subdued. What's your take on this? Well, the options activity is quite interesting. Calls worth $135,000 were bought against 1.61 million puts, so it was heavily skewed towards calls. Typically, on an average day, both calls and puts are relatively low in number. So a significant amount of money was invested today, but this wasn't necessarily optimistic compared to the puts. Technically, 59% of options today were bearish. However, without much thought, it's only $0.30, and especially with the expectations of BPI and other factors, as many people believe, this downward trend may continue. What are your thoughts on this? It's quite fascinating. So the entire volume for today is shown here, and one thing that stood out to me, in particular, was that on the April 19th expiry date, 19,000 options were bought at a $1 strike price. So someone, for whatever reason, put down a significant amount of money, essentially betting that it will be above $1 by April. And who knows? I really don't know why April 19th could be the date. Maybe it's related to Bollinger or something else, I don't know. What do you think about April 19th? Do you think something is coming then, or something else? Then on December 22nd, around 3,000 shares were bought at a 50-cent strike price. But looking at the options or open interest, there is still a lot of hope around January 19th and now April 19th. What are your thoughts on this? Despite the lack of success, the November 3rd expiry dates were all useless. So 10,000 at a 50-cent strike price, 2,000 at $1, and 189 options at $1, $0, and 50 cents all went to waste. Similarly, trading options is a loss. It's purely speculative because technically it doesn't affect the stock price. But as I mentioned, I believe there was a shortage in purchasing on this form. So let's talk about this amended Form 4. Two Form 4 were submitted yesterday. The original 228 was submitted, and then 526 was amended. So basically, the only amendment is this third line. The first two lines are milestones, with mixed feelings in them. There are 3.6 million and then 4.9 million milestones. But technically, this third line can give an idea of what Mullen can do now. David has not yet taken these 3.6 million, 4.9 million, and 1 million shares, but in the future, when it suits them, they can take them. But this third line is written there because it was given under the issuer's 2022 Equity Incentive Plan. And this was approved during the August 3rd shareholder meeting. So proposal number 2 essentially was that the number of authorized shares to be issued under the 2022 plan should be increased to 52 million shares. So this is something that technically, if you only read it at face value, most people wouldn't have a problem with. Without a doubt, it's good for an incentive plan for employees, and there should always be skilled labor there. But one thing I caught, I thought this was before the shareholder meeting. It was written in proposal number 2 that these 52 million shares are not subject to any stock split, either decreasing or increasing. So basically, when this was approved, we didn't have a reverse stock split at that time. There was only one at that time, as you can understand how this can be harmful, and maybe no purchases were made because technically, those 52 million shares were approved at that time. The real value was $1, just look at this. But you understand, the stock price was different. So the value of the dollar doesn't remain the same. But this is just one example of how everything becomes bigger. Similarly, those 52 remains the same. Although there was a 1-for-9 reverse stock split, and now people may or may not be talking about a third reverse stock split. I don't want to make a mistake on this, but if it does happen, which people have been hopeful about after David virtual price ratio, it's a significant matter. A very concerning reference, and the form shown here suggests that they are ready to issue it, which is somewhat of a red flag. I don't know if people maybe didn't understand this, but if something happens, I want Mullen to release their 52 million shares right now. Whether you call it dilution or something else, I want them to issue this 52 million right now, before a third reverse stock split may occur, where all this becomes even more significant. I don't think you realize how damaging this could be, not just to outstanding shares but also to the stock price. That's why I think there weren't many buyers in the aftermath, because it was generally unexpected. This whole third line there. Why are they really issuing it? And this isn't any kind of milestone or something like that. Similarly, when the company is understood correctly, they have to issue it. Likewise, this isn't a good thing either. Guys, that's all we have for you today. What is your opinion about Mullen stock? Get involved and let us know in the comments down below. Thank you for watching.